All right, today we are rolling up our sleeves and doing some serious construction work. We're not just talking about ideas, we're actually building something together. We're going to lay down the foundation for an unshakable core in your life using a master blueprint from the opening of Surah Al-e-Imran. These aren't just lessons for you to think about. Nope. These are 10 steps for you to build with. So let's get to work. But first, let's start with a really important question. I want you to honestly think about this. If your life were a building, what is its foundation actually made of? You know, when the storms of life inevitably hit, and believe me, they always do, what is it that's holding everything together? Because the material you choose to build with, well, that changes everything. You see, for so many of us, without even realizing it, we're building our lives on shifting sand. We use flimsy materials like our social status, the likes we get online, our job title, our nationality, or even our family's reputation. And yeah, these things might look and feel solid for a little while, but they can be washed away in a single moment. Building on them creates a life of constant anxiety, of instability. The source material we're digging into today, though, it offers a totally different way, a blueprint for a foundation that's built on solid rock. So let's get into the first phase of construction, laying that solid foundation. This is all about getting our identity, our sense of self, and our legacy right from the very beginning. It's about finding our true north before we even think about putting up the walls. Okay, lesson number 1. And this one requires a huge shift in how we see ourselves. We have to prioritize piety over identity. I mean, just look at the contrast here. On one side, you have a foundation built on external labels, things we can't even control, where we were born, who our parents are. That's a house of cards, just waiting for a gust of wind. But on the other side, a foundation built on internal choices, things we can control, our moral character, our integrity, our service to a higher purpose. Now that's a fortress of stone. And that core material, that bedrock we're talking about, is something called piety or taqwa. The best way to think about it is God consciousness. And listen, this isn't about fear in a negative way. It's about a deep awareness that grounds every single thing you do in a higher purpose. It's like an internal compass that literally protects you from making a wrong turn. It's the very concrete of your new foundation. And this leads beautifully into our second lesson. Our identity? It isn't some new thing we just invented. The source material here frames it as something so much bigger. It tells us to see ourselves as continuing a timeless, prophetic legacy. You are the spiritual heir to the mission of giants like Abraham, Mary, and Jesus. This connects your personal story to a sacred history, giving your life a weight, a significance that no temporary social status ever could. Now, this idea of legacy isn't just an abstract concept. It's a living, breathing history. And that brings us to a huge lesson from this chapter. Acknowledge your roots. To really get this, we're encouraged to study the history of the family of Imran, the very family this surah is named after. Think of them as our primary case study. Their legacy wasn't built on money or power, but on character and devotion. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is from this incredible family. Their story shows us how a single family, totally grounded in piety, can send out ripples of positive change that last for all of human history. All right, so the foundation is laid. It's solid. Now we can move on to the next phase, building the walls and the roof. This is all about learning how to guard our inner world from the inevitable storms of doubt, confusion, and all the spiritual challenges life throws at us. Our third lesson is all about seeking intellectual protection. Just listen to this beautiful imagery from the Prophet Muhammad. He described reciting Surah Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran together, saying they become like a shade or a cloud over you. In our lives, right now, that shade protects you from the scorching heat of doubt and confusion. It gives you clarity and intellectual strength when you're faced with tough questions or ideas that try to shake your foundation. And the fourth lesson makes this protection a real daily habit. Practice daily tazkiyah, or spiritual purification. Now, this isn't some vague, complicated concept. It's a simple, actionable routine. It means setting aside some time, maybe first thing in the morning, to consciously focus on purifying your heart. It could be through prayer, quiet reflection, or reading. It's the daily maintenance that keeps the walls of your inner sanctuary strong, clean, and secure. Okay, check it out. The foundation is set, the walls are up. But a house isn't really a home until the power is on, right? This next phase is all about installing the interior wiring. It's about connecting our day-to-day actions to our spiritual core. It's how we turn this structure into a living, breathing reality. The sixth lesson is absolutely crucial. Bridge, law, and spirit. This is all about moving beyond just robotic ritual.
When you do any religious duty, like praying or fasting, just pause for a second and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What spiritual quality is this action supposed to be building inside me? For example, when you pray, don't just go through the motions. Think about how the physical act of bowing is designed to foster humility, to erase arrogance. That little bit of intentionality is what turns routine into real transformation.
The seventh lesson is such a simple but powerful habit: affirm revelation. The source material points to the opening letters of this chapter, Alif, Lam, Mim, which is an affirmation of the Quran's divine source. We can take that principle and apply it in our own lives. Before you start any complex task, a big project at work, a difficult conversation, even just writing an important email, start by acknowledging that all true knowledge and guidance come from God. It's like flipping a master switch that centers our efforts and invites clarity and help into whatever you're doing. So now, let's tie this all together. These final lessons create a complete system for how to live. First, you've got accountability. Living every day as if your actions are being recorded and ranked. This gives you a powerful long-term vision. But hey, this isn't a solo mission. That's why the next piece is community. Applying these principles to build up the people around you. And finally, to keep the lights on and the whole thing running, there's illumination. Going deeper, studying the meaning of the Quran. This makes sure your faith is a real source of understanding, not just blind ritual. You see how they work together? An upward vision, an outward focus, and an inward depth. So we've walked through the entire blueprint. We've seen the design for a truly unshakable life. Now comes the final and, honestly, the most important step. Moving from the blueprint to the actual construction site. It's about taking all this knowledge and making it real, starting right now. And I get it. Looking at this whole grand design can feel a little overwhelming. But this entire architectural project, this life-changing construction, it doesn't start with 10 giant steps. It starts with just one single choice, one simple action, one foundational block laid down with pure intention. So here it is, your complete 10-point blueprint. The whole shebang. From shifting your identity to piety, to connecting with that prophetic legacy, to guarding your heart, bridging spirit and practice, and finally, building up your community with an eye towards ultimate accountability. This is the plan for a structure that can truly withstand anything. So, the question isn't whether or not this is a good blueprint. The only question that really matters now is the one I have for you. Looking at this whole plan, what foundational block will you lay first? What is the one thing you can start doing today to begin building your unshakable core? If this explainer added some real value to your life and helped clarify these powerful lessons, then please help us build our community. Like this, share it with someone you think might benefit, and let us know in the comments, what is the first block you plan to lay? Thanks for joining us.